It is that the journey of discovering Parentune actually started with the journey of discovering my own self with other aspects, just not academics. And that goes in terms of child's overall development, growth,
Goosebumps,
personal.
goosebumps. I guess this is the Eureka moment. I guess, the this is what you call the purpose, right?
It all started with the research with a few parents, and it snowballed into 2000 parents,
Does
right?
that also
That's
help when you go about to raise funds from the VCs that you've done the first friends, family, fools thing before going to a VC?
I think I would say friends, family, and angels. Institutional money is a different ball game.
Hi everyone, my name is Amit, and this is another very interesting episode that I bring to you with the two Pandays sitting in the screen here, Amit Pandey and Nitin Pandey, and it's really amazing to have you, Nitin. And in the past I've had some investors and startups, and it's very interesting to have you also because. One of these startups that I did long back, you were a part of that in a very small way, but at least you've always been there in my memory. And I saw you in a very humble self at that point of time, 5 years back. And today I see that you've done really well for your startup. Quickly, quickly, if you can tell something about yourself and when you started, how you got into it, and then maybe, we'll deep dive into the other questions. Over to you, Nitin.
Thanks, Amit, and thank you again for inviting me for this session. Remember your journey very fondly, and every time I've interacted with you, I've learned something new. So thanks again for inviting me here on the session. I'm still the same Nitin, which you left earlier. When you met me last time. So I think that's all about me. But to talk about Parentune, Parentune is a parents network, and we help parents with trustworthy advice to do what is right for their child. So to say, we become the advice center for a parent 24 by 7. And in times of today, I think that has become more than ever more relevant, right, for a parent. So that's about Parentune, and the journey has been now 7 years since we started Parentune back in 2012, founded the company 2013, and we went live with the first beta, to then going live with the app in 2017 after the beta. So those have been, various phases on the product side. In terms of the journey of Parentune, we moved from being a concept stage company to becoming a network, wherein we had a vision that, okay, we want to be a must-have network of parents which they can fall back on and use it as a soundboard 24 by 7 and do what is right for their child. In that journey, the business has taken from being a pre-revenue stage company, which is for the first 4 years we didn't have any revenues, and cut to the sixth year we turned profitable. And I think that's been one of the most interesting part of a journey. And now we've finished year 7 almost, and today we are a profitable startup, but also most importantly growing at a very good pace.
I think that's a round of applause for the profitability, and then I mean obviously you have taken care of all of the important matrix, all of the unit economics and the sales aspect of building this business, and it's a really interesting model. And certainly as a young parent, I understand and imagine how important it is to have some sort of an advisory board or a collective opinion on parenting, given that this generation is overly ambitious also when it comes to parenting. But just going back to your entrepreneurial journey, Nitin, would you like to share? I mean, how did you get into entrepreneurship, and what was the drive inside of you? How did you sort of get that drive, passion? Where did you figure out this market from? What are the most important things when it comes to is it skills, is it experience, is it your degree? I mean, where and how how does this all happen? And then in particular to your journey, Nitin, over to you.
Right. So Amit, that's a very interesting question. The short of it is that the journey of discovering Parentune actually started with the journey of discovering my own self and understanding, what I really believe in, what am I passionate about, what am I good at. I think that's also very important to understand that it's just not what you are interested in, but also what you are really good at and what you are passionate about. Because that, when comes together, then comes in commitment, which is very important to be an entrepreneur. So for me, it was when I was working, at an MNC back in 2008, and first time At that point in time, someone reached out to me from an early stage education company. And they said, look, we are looking at a leadership role, and we are looking at you to come in and lead early years and early childhood development years of a business. So I said, what is that? And they said, that's preschool. Now, why it sounded great to me was because in the last 3 years, while I was doing my, the corporate stint of the last 5 years, out of that, the last 3 years I had spent going to B schools, teaching and learning. And I found education always very, very intriguing, interesting, and the kind of impact it makes on people. So I was like, okay, let's just hear this out. I may not understand this much, but I'm really curious about it. Is it inside the classroom or outside the classroom? And I was blown away when I started, understanding this entire early childhood development space. And that intrigued me even more. So I went deeper and deeper. And through this journey, I actually got a very good team with me, and together we guys took this business from around 100 preschools when I had taken over as a business head. We took to 1,000 preschools, and we also, because of this business, we moved the company to 100 crore IPO, and it became a very fast IPO, a mid-size IPO in India. And while the IPO happened, and I was personally very happy, I was also personally very gratified of
So
having
what
taken
company
this
was this,
journey.
Nitin? Sorry.
So this was Zlearn, Amit.
Okay.
And I joined as a vertical head for early childhood development education, and the preschools are called Kidsy. So this was like a huge learning curve for me. And I came in from a brands and marketing background. I didn't do a P&L role. This was the first vertical head role. So it completely changed my outlook about things. Most importantly, it made me more passionate about this entire piece. And through this journey, I used to spend a lot of time with parents at preschools, right, spread across India. And I used to be on the road throughout, right. In a month, I used to be like 7 to 10 days away, on a normal, month basis. So I used to spend a lot of time with parents, and I used to understand what are their challenges. While we were solving the academic nature of challenges, we were actually not able to solve the other challenges, like my child is behaving in a certain way, my child does not eat, is I think my child is not well, my child has not started communicating with others, I'm worried about what is my child's interest in, and things like that. And they used to ask those questions to us and our team, right? And we were not equipped to give an answer, and we chose not to because we were not experts. And I realized that over a period, I spent 5 years doing two roles, right? I did a head of marketing role, I did a business head role. Through this journey, my big learning was that there's a role which a school or a preschool plays, which is not just formative but actually constructive for the whole life almost, because it defines who we become as a professional. But how about how we become as a person? That has got to do with other aspects, just not academics, and that goes in terms of child's overall development, growth,
Goosebumps.
personal.
Goosebumps. I guess this is the Eureka moment. I guess the this is what you call the purpose, right?
Yeah, and I found it really, really compelling, Amit, to be honest. And then there were 2 3 choices which I had to pick between, and I created a fourth choice in Parentune. And I thought, I would go find a job. And I'm being very honest, I never dreamt to be an entrepreneur, or it wasn't by design. So I was looking for a job in this area. But back in 2012, when I started looking out, nobody was in India at that point of time thinking about this or working on this already. And I thought, if there's no one else and I'm so compelled about it, might as well go ahead and take the plunge. And that's how Parentune started. So there was this compelling passion about going beyond and uh, thinking from a basic point of view of, if a school where the child spends 6 hours or 8 hours in a day is so important for a child's life, imagine the parent and the role which a parent has to play in a child's life. That is perhaps as or more important than the role a school or a preschool plays. And I thought, I should do something about it. And that's how Parentune as a thought first time happened.
Wow, fantastic. I think, That's a brilliant sort of narrative, and it's a great story, and it's really really inspiring. And this settles the inside out aspect of what what I was trying to ask you about. And